This video is brought to you by True Tales of Buried Treasure, the largest collection of old treasure magazines in the West. On our website, you can search for individual treasure stories by region, or buy our original magazines themselves. To pay us a visit, please click on the link in the description. Enjoy. In the wild and storied landscapes of the American West, tales of lost gold whisper through the winds of summer, captivating the imagination with their mystery and allure. Among these legends, none are more tantalizing than the accounts of gold robberies. Shrouded in uncertainty and woven into the fabric of history, one such enigma is the saga of the John Doc Noble robbery, etched into the annals of time more than a century ago, near the rugged town of Whitebird, Idaho. The details of this event, obscured by the passage of years, blur the line between fact and fiction. While some records suggest it occurred between 1862 and 1868, evidence points to a likely date in August 1864, amidst the bustling gold rush era of the Salmon River. John Noble, a seasoned trader, navigated the treacherous trails with his pack train, threading through the wilderness between the prosperous gold town of Florence and the bustling port of Lewiston. Laden with riches, his convoy carried the lifeblood of the gold rush, a fortune estimated at $75,000, though whispers hinted at even greater wealth from individual miners. Despite the ever-present threat of outlaws and indigenous raids, Noble's previous journeys had been uneventful, fostering a sense of security that proved deceptive. With a retinue of 20 men to manage the stock and 12 vigilant guards, he embarked on what would become his most fateful expedition. Winding northwest toward the Salmon River, Noble's convoy traced the rugged contours of the land, with the imposing Seven Devils Mountains standing sentinel to the west. Swift and lightly packed, his train raced against the clock, driven by the promise of profit and the urgency of commerce. As dusk descended, casting shadows across the canyon, Noble's party halted near Slate Creek, pitching camp amidst the rugged beauty of the wilderness. Little did they know, the night would unfold with a darkness far deeper than the shadows that danced upon the canyon walls. Noble, a rugged man with a weathered beard, anticipated reaching Whitebird by nightfall the following day. However, fate intervened before he could escape the clutches of the river canyon. In a place now infamous as Robbers Gulch, the tranquility of the journey was shattered by the sudden onslaught of 8 armed assailants. With terrifying speed and precision, the attackers descended upon the train, their shouts and gunfire ripping through the air. Caught off guard, Noble's guards and packers scattered in panic, leaving the pack animals to stampede in confusion. Amidst the chaos, 6 of Noble's men fell to the merciless barrage of bullets. As the highwaymen seized control, they rifled through the cargo, seizing not only Noble's gold, but also the valuables entrusted to them by individual miners and businessmen. With the loot secured, the bandits swiftly vanished into the rugged terrain, their identities cloaked in secrecy. In a bid to evade pursuit, the gang leader ordered the gold to be buried along the Salmon River, hastening their flight into the labyrinthine Seven Devils Mountains. Despite their efforts to cover their tracks, the relentless pursuit by the citizens of Whitebird forced them into a deadly confrontation. A fierce battle ensued, resulting in the demise of 7 outlaws, but the whereabouts of Noble's gold remained elusive. Despite exhaustive searches of the rugged landscape, the treasure remained hidden, becoming an enduring enigma of the Wild West. Years later, a chance encounter in Coulterville, California, shed new light on the mystery. Elmore Jackatter, a young man seeking adventure, befriended an old prospector named Charlie Yarnell. As Yarnell's health declined, he confided in Jackatter, revealing tantalizing clues about the long-lost treasure. But even as Yarnell's cough worsened, his secrets remained guarded, leaving Jackatter to grapple with the tantalizing possibility of unlocking the final chapter of the elusive golden treasure. Facing his mortality at nearly 80 years old, Yarnell made arrangements for the inevitable. Aware of Jackatter's wealth from prospecting, he proposed a deal. Upon his death, Jackatter would inherit a map leading to a cache of buried gold in Idaho. Yarnell claimed that while reports stated they had only taken $75,000, there could be over $100,000 or even more buried in 3 separate locations near the Salmon River. Initially skeptical, Getz entertained the notion but urged Yarnell to focus on recovery rather than surrendering to despair. Yarnell, however, feared recognition and retribution if he ventured back to Idaho, haunted by the fate of his former partners. His fixation on avoiding detection had kept him from retrieving the gold for nearly 3 decades. Despite Getz's ignorance of the noble train robbery, Yarnell's detailed recollections and vivid descriptions convinced him of the story's authenticity. Yarnell's claim to have escaped the massacre by hunting game ahead of the group lent credence to his account. As Yarnell's health deteriorated, Getz sought medical aid, but the old man's condition worsened rapidly. In exchange for the map, Yarnell pleaded for a dignified burial, a request Getz honored upon his passing. Discovering the map among Yarnell's belongings, Getz considered pursuing the treasure, but deemed the endeavor too costly. 2 years later, however, fate intervened as Getz found himself in Idaho once again, contemplating the tantalizing possibility of unlocking the secrets buried within the rugged terrain. While idling in Boise, Getz stumbled upon various accounts of the historic Noble Pack Train robbery, corroborated by remnants of records he found in the local Historical Society library. Though lacking in modern efficiency, government maps of the time lent credence to Yarnell's crude sketch, aligning with a canyon labeled Oldenorf by Yarnell, albeit unfamiliar to Getz. Undeterred by discrepancies, Getz provisioned himself and embarked into the wilderness with 2 burros and a trusty steed. His exploration led him to a short tunnel, not marked on Yarnell's map, suggesting subsequent human activity in the area. Undeterred, Getz pressed on, guided by Yarnell's cryptic descriptions and a peculiar rock formation resembling an Indian's face. Venturing deeper into the canyon, Getz located the markers described by Yarnell, indicating the spot where Noble's gold was rumored to be hidden. However, his solitude was interrupted by the unexpected arrival of 2 rough-looking strangers who appeared to take a keen interest in his activities. Initially dismissing them as fellow prospectors, Getz grew suspicious as they scrutinized his excavation sites. Their pointed inquiries hinted at ulterior motives, revealing their knowledge of the elusive loot sought after by outlaws decades prior. Getz's confusion deepened as the strangers' references to the robbery clashed with his own ignorance of the event. Their exchange left Getz with more questions than answers, his curiosity piqued by the enigmatic encounter in the rugged Idaho wilderness. Moreover, if you're seeking what we're after, you're in the wrong canyon altogether. Those outlaws made their way into the Seven Devils before stashing the loot from the Noble train. With that, they offered no further insight into the matter, but opted to spend the night in close proximity to Getz's camp. Early the next morning, they loaded their gear, saddled their animals, and rode further up the canyon, seemingly headed west toward the mountain range. Later that afternoon, while digging a hole, Getz heard the unmistakable bray of a burro echoing up the canyon, indicating that the supposed prospectors had not left the area and were keeping watch on him. Sensing potential danger, Getz retrieved a revolver from his packs and concealed it on his person, prepared for a confrontation. He filled in the holes he had already excavated and approached the red-stained vein on the canyon floor, beginning to dig with caution. Nightfall found Getz stealthily making his way up the canyon to the intruders' camp, which he located less than half a mile away. The following day, he emerged from his makeshift shelter late and resumed digging at the base of the wall, under the quartz vein. After excavating further, he encountered an obstruction that halted his progress. Upon closer inspection, he uncovered fragments of a rotted leather pannier containing decaying buckskin sacks, spilling forth small gold nuggets. Mindful of the lurking danger posed by the intruders, Getz concealed his excitement and continued working, discreetly gathering the treasure into a bucket. Under the cover of darkness, he returned to camp, where he cautiously separated the gold from the debris. Estimating his find to be around $30,000 worth of nuggets and gold dust, he buried the treasure in a heavy canvas sack and disguised the site before returning to his shelter. The following morning, Getz lingered in camp before returning to the excavation, digging deeper, but finding nothing more of value. By afternoon, he filled in the hole and leveled it with the ground, concealing any evidence of his discovery. Over the next 2 days, Getz cautiously continued his excavation, mindful of the possible presence of the two intruders. Despite his efforts, he failed to uncover any additional caches, prompting him to abandon the search and pack up his belongings due to dwindling supplies. Making camp at the mouth of the canyon on the Salmon River, he decided to pan out the finer particles of gold from the debris, confirming his earlier estimate of a small fortune. That afternoon, Getz braved the river crossing with his stock, navigating the swift current to reach the opposite bank. As he paused to dry his wet pants, rifle shots shattered the tranquility of the scene, narrowly missing him and signaling imminent danger. Recognizing the assailants as the same men from the canyon, Getz swiftly drew his 6-gun and returned fire, incapacitating one of them while the other fled into the brush. Taking cover behind his horse and burros, Getz maintained his position, exchanging gunfire with the remaining assailant before issuing a stern warning. The surviving hardcase, fearing for his life, emerged from hiding and confirmed his partner's demise. Getz, wary of potential legal entanglements, promptly departed the scene, venturing eastward into rough terrain and eventually finding refuge in the Boise Bassin. From there, Getz continued his journey as a nondescript prospector, eventually selling his gold after traversing several states, ensuring his safety and preserving the secrecy of his newfound wealth. From then on, he blended into the ranks of hopeful prospectors traversing the land. He held onto his gold until he journeyed through Utah and into Colorado. Upon entering New Mexico, he transitioned into the mercantile trade and eventually settled down, marrying and raising a family in the lush Rio Grande Valley. Despite occasional musings about returning to unearth the remaining treasure, Getz never acted upon them. His ventures in business proved lucrative, rendering such pursuits unnecessary. As the years passed, Getz's longing for the hidden gold remained a nostalgic tale. He passed away in 1958 at the age of 84, leaving the mystery of the buried treasure unresolved. Speculations abound regarding the precise location of Noble's loot, with conflicting reports suggesting it could be concealed in any one of several canyons that feed into the Salmon River from the west. Complicating matters further, many of these canyons have been subjected to early mining activities, clouding the trail of evidence even further. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to read the original article or purchase the magazine from which it was taken, please check out our website, truetalesofburiedtreasure.com.